Good evening. Welcome to another edition of Namaste Sober Monday night yoga and discussion and throat chakra exercise. Not only for the sober yogis that find their way into this space, but really anybody that's committed to personal growth. Um, we do have an emphasis on the life of sobriety and how we can use our practices to stay in that resolve to enjoy life sober. My name is Kate Frauchi, and I am so excited to be here again tonight to talk about another piece of the Yamas and the Niyamas. The last 2 weeks we've been covering the Yamas. I believe we covered Ashima and Satya, nonviolence and truth. So tonight we're going to cover a Niyama, and tonight's Niyama is Santosha, and I've seen it spelled two different ways. And so I kind of looked it up. So I've seen it spelled with the H and I've seen it spelled without the H, but it's in the pronunciation, it said to pronounce the H. So Santosha, it means contentment, acceptance. Like I said, it is a niyama. The niyama, or what that translates as personal observances, is one of the 8 limbs of Patanjali's Ashtanga yoga system. And I really do believe that the yamas and the niyamas are useful teachings, not only on the path of sobriety, but just on that path of enlightenment and expansion. Um, Niyamas have to do with, like I said, personal observances and our relationship with ourselves. And we'll talk a little bit more on that specifically in a minute, but our relationship with ourselves is really, really important as we are deepening our resolve to be sober. And yeah, just a personal relationship with ourselves is the most important relationship. So we're going to work on cultivating that a little bit here tonight. When we come into Namaste Sober, there's always agreements in the chat to help hold this space sacred. And I every time you come in, all you have to do is just type in the chats with love after you've just checked and make sure that you do agree with everything. And then I also do put our just for today, our creed in the comments as well, so that you can follow along. So after we come in and say hello and we recite our just for today, then we have an opportunity for an individual, what I like to call a throat chakra opening session. It's an opportunity for each individual to be witnessed, to be supported, to be loved, to just have a space where if they need to get something out, get something out. A lot of times all we really need to do is just talk about it, and the clarity that we gain from just having a space that is non-judgmental and supportive to work through the issues that we face in life can be so helpful. So that's what this space is. We have already done that for this evening with the participants who are here. And after each share, we say thank you, whoever has shared. We witness you, we support you, and we love you. And then we take a few breaths for space. And then after everybody has a turn, I call us more into the practice, and then we move on to the discussion and movement portion. So, like I said, my name is Kate Frauchi. I am the owner of Eclectic Kate LLC. I'm a 200-hour registered yoga teacher. I'm also a Hoop Yogini, certified Hoop Yogini instructor, certified Usui Reiki practitioner, and fellow sober chick. I'll be 3 years in September. And I credit yoga to help keeping me in my center and not in the bottle. So I wanted to quick touch base on kind of my thoughts of Santosha and acceptance. I think radical acceptance of ourselves and radical acceptance of the present moment and what is really one of those foundational things as you're coming into sobriety and as you continue to walk the path of sobriety. That the serenity prayer, God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Yeah, acceptance. It's right there. And I like that because I like that serenity prayer because it is about, that discernment, but also it is about that acceptance. And sometimes acceptance can be really hard. And acceptance is also sometimes that we tend to avoid by drinking. So, Santosha, I had an incident where I had to extend Santosha um, over the weekend, and was dealing with my oldest father, who conveniently seems to show up when like money's involved. So of course it's about tax time, and he wanted to, express his need to, claim him, and it just, it was just one of those situations where I really got my blood boiling. There's very much a victim mentality, and I just have a really hard time dealing with that sometimes because it's bullshit. um, so I was so upset to the point where I wanted to scream and shout and cry. And so I did let myself cry a little bit, but at the same time, I really sat in that moment and I was like, okay, acceptance. Like I have to accept what's going on right now. And then I have to ask the universe for help. So it took me a moment to breathe and just accept, okay, this is what's going on. I know I'm being fully supported. I know I'm coming from a place of intention, and I know that I can figure out a solution. Okay, here you go, universe. And then I was able to extend that Santosha into the moment and then beyond into the rest of the day. And what's funny about that is that I took myself out to an old stomping ground, and had dinner by myself. And I was walking into this place. I thought, there's always that thought every once in a while where you're like, I just have a glass of wine. And it was like that moment where I had to again extend the acceptance and be like, no, you're in a spot right now where that would be really comforting. Why don't you get a cup of coffee? And if you really feel like you need some comfort, then order some order some dessert. I didn't end up ordering dessert, just in case you were wondering, because I'm trying to work on my sugar intake. But the whole point is that it's still present. But if I can offer radical acceptance into any given moment, I'm able to kind of transcend whatever emotion that I'm experiencing and respond to the situation in a way that keeps me in my integrity and in my alignment. And that is really valuable when we're working to stay on the sober path. So yeah, that's that. So at this point, since you are catching, you person who is watching or catching the recording, I would like to take a moment to invite you to just go ahead and push pause on this video. Speak aloud the things that are on your shoulders. Speak aloud the things that you want to celebrate and be witness for. And then when you're done, you can go ahead and push play. We are holding space for you, even though you are joining us in another time and another space. So go ahead and push pause. We witness you, we support you, and we love you. Thank you. Okay, go ahead and close your eyes. Center into the breath. You can find your easy seated pose. We're not quite ready for movement yet, but I just want to call everybody a little bit closer into center. Call yourself into the practice and into the space. A couple of breaths to allow your whole entire cavity, your whole entire chest cavity to fill up. And as you exhale, exhale past the point of empty before you take another nice full breath. Let it be easy, let it be slow, let it be full. And as you're deepening into your breath a little bit more, if you have not fluttered your eyes closed to shut out that visual stimulus, go ahead and do so if you feel comfortable. If you'd like to keep your eyes open, just find a focal point that you can stay focused on, your drishti. Notice the points of your seat that are touching the earth. Notice any spaces where you can relax in the spine. Bring some awareness into the body. As we witness each other in this circle, we recognize the sacredness and courage of vulnerability, the power of community as we individually expand, and the love we find through forgiveness of ourselves. Let each practice that we show up to be a guiding light, not only into ourselves, but on the path of sobriety and on the ultimate path of expansion. Take another inhale, hold it at the top. Let that settle and land where it may. Then, as you exhale, you can flutter your eyes open. And let's talk about Santosha. So we'll start big picture like we usually do, but I'm not going to go quite into it as much detail because I think we've covered a little bit about the broad spectrum of the yamas and the niyamas. So Santosha, contentment, acceptance, it is a niyama, and the niyamas, or personal observances, like I said, is one of the 8 limbs of Patanjali's Ashtanga yoga system. And again, I really do think that these are really useful teachings and awarenesses to have, practices on the path of sobriety. And the niyamas, like I said, have to do with personal observances and our relationship with ourselves. And like I had mentioned before too, that's kind of a really important thing, because when you decide to stop drinking, you kind of have to figure out who you are too. And so you're really creating a new relationship with yourself. And so this is where Santosha can be super handy to keep you out of the old cycles that you're trying to break. So backing up a little bit, when we come to a Western class, the most predominant limb of the Ashtanga yoga system is that asana. So the postures, we'll move through postures tonight. It's the physical practice. The movement is actually meant to kind of bring you into your body and into presence, into the present moment, so that you're prepared for stillness, which is why Shavasana is like super important. And it gives us, Shavasana gives us a space for stillness, a space for integration, for meditation, and possibly to even reach that 8th limb of the yoga system, which is called samadhi, which is like that bliss, that oneness. So limbs 3 through 8, we experience in some form or another as we move through the physical yoga of practice and as you deepen into the yogic practice. But like I said, in previous classes, we have reviewed some of those, and tonight we're just gonna move forward to the rasa, or the nectar of our practice. And so the yamas and the niyamas, like I said, those are the first 2 limbs of the Ashtanga yoga system. And the yama, just a quick review to keep planting those seeds. The yama is a restraint in thought, word, or physical action. Yama means to control or contain, and the yamas are principles of ethical behavior we should follow in everyday life in relation to others or ourselves. So for the last 2 weeks, we've been covering those. We moved through Ashima, nonviolence, and Satya, non-lying, and that's the previous weeks of expiration. So tonight we're diving into the niyama of Santosha. And the niyama, like I said, once again, these are personal observances, our intimate relationship with ourselves, and practicing these leads to more authenticity and presence. So, this is that space where you're not wrong. These are your personal observances of yourself. If they're uncomfortable, then that's where you can work, that's where this idea of acceptance comes in. So more authenticity and presence leads to a greater ability to remain unchanged and, of course, sober when we are facing life's challenges. Acceptance, contentment. Most of us probably started drinking because we were looking for one or the other, or both, right? We were looking to find some contentment and some peace and accept oh my gosh, I had a really bad day. Everything went wrong. I'm going to go seek acceptance on that bar stool. Right? Right. And then it makes it really hard to accept anything in life without drinking. So there's this quote by Clark Mustakas, and it says, accept everything about yourself. I mean, everything. You are you, and that is the beginning and the end. No apologies, no regrets. How many of us are still holding on to regrets or are scared to forgive ourselves for what we have done while alcohol was the captain of the ship? But guess what? You have found a new way. So Santosha invites us to accept it all. Radical acceptance is it's so key. Looking at the ways that we are imperfect or how far we have to go on a journey is far more natural for our brain. It's just kind of like how our brain is wired. It's far more natural than to look at the ways that we're like pretty awesome and look at the achieving, the small steps that we're taking to get in the right direction. So much more often we focus on the things that are still imperfect or focus on how far yet we have to go. So sometimes that critical eye serves us, right? Like sometimes that critical eye of like really looking and picking it apart, sometimes that does serve us, but sometimes it's exhausting. Sometimes it's counterproductive, and it feeds a cycle that keeps us right where we don't want to be. So this is why at Santosha, that acceptance is really important to break cycles and make changes. This niyama reminds us to look at ourselves and find peace and acceptance in what is. It's hard. We must employ that satya or that truth to help us love what we need to accept. So like I said before, this can be really hard, and it is hard, but you can definitely do it. I know you can. Present day psychological research actually shows this and supports this idea of acceptance. It shows that the less self-critical we are, the more able we are actually to get stuff done, improve, etc. So like self-acceptance is often like that first key, that first step to change and growth. And it can be the hardest, right? A lot of times they're like the first step of the journey is the hardest. Well, guess what? Self-acceptance is usually the first part of that journey, and it is hard. It's okay. That's why we come to our practices. The key that you hand yourself to open a door to things that you never could have imagined from where you are right now. That's what self-acceptance does. We were talking about this in our group discussion today about how like sometimes looking at where we're at now, we're like, oh my gosh, like I can't even believe this. This is a dream. Like, yes, that is what happens when you offer yourself that radical acceptance, that santosha. So that's why this is important to adhere and take maybe take to your journal. Anyways, so speaking of the brain, we talked about the brain a lot last month. The brain is the hardest part of the body to adjust in asanas. As we're moving through a yoga practice, your brain is the hardest part to adjust, not your body, your brain. It's pretty like, that's kind of like life too, right? The hardest thing to adjust is your brain. So in our practice tonight of all of the additional limbs of yoga, Santosha is about accepting our perceived limitations and celebrating them. So maybe while you're in down dog tonight, celebrating exactly where you're at in down dog instead of being like, ugh, I wish I could have my legs all the way straight, or I wish my ankle, or I wish my heels touched the ground. No, just be like, this, where I'm at right now in this down dog is perfect. And I celebrate the fact that my body can do this. That is what we're looking for. And I say this a lot when we come to the mat. Comparison is the thief of joy. When we were in in-person classes, don't pay attention to what's going on around you. Comparison is the thief of joy. And judgment, I don't know, probably pretty much every class, I remind everybody to just drop any self-judgment they're holding, any of that, just drop it. And honoring where we are today. I also say that a lot too, as far as like honor where you're at today, because if you keep showing up for yourself, then you're going to be able to touch your heels to the floor in down dog. And when you offer yourself that self-acceptance, you are able to take that step towards those things that you're wanting for yourself. Know that you are growing as you're moving, right? You're growing as you're moving. So this is about finding contentment where we are at in a movement practice. Okay, so we're going to kind of focus in on our practice, get a little bit more prepped for this movement. And we want to find contentment in our movement practice. And, in doing that, again, that affects that trifecta. And we can also, find contentment for where we're at with our emotional and our spiritual practice too. Maybe it's not everything you want it to be, but accept and love exactly where it's at now. That's what that looks like. That's what that Santosha looks like, that contentment. Moving through the practice with that. So before we actually get into the movement practice, I'll ask you to, of course, always remember to listen for any signs of danger or warning within your body. If at any point something doesn't feel right, go ahead and go to child's pose, go to easy seated pose. Give yourself a little bit of radical acceptance for where you're at. Celebrate that you were able to recognize that you needed a break. It is in rest that we cultivate the strength to shine again. So if you take a break, just do so with a sense of ownership, not defeat. Do so with a sense of acceptance and contentment. Yes. Use your breath to untie the knots in your body and your mind. Come into your easy seated position and let's get prepared to become fully into this practice this evening together. Taking a couple breaths again, maybe closing the eyes if that feels good. We are in sacred space as we practice together. There is no judgment here, only love and support. So give yourself permission now to fully explore this practice with me tonight. Also, again, listen for any signs of danger or warning within the body. We will end in Shavasana and a whole time and space for you to fully relax and integrate the information and movement that we experienced this evening. And tonight, we have live tongue drum performance for you. So let's just start with expanding the entire upper body with air and then releasing until you are past empty. Take a couple breaths here, and I'm going to share with you a reading tonight as you deepen into your breath, just seeing if you can feel the entire upper body and releasing past empty until you're ready to breathe in again. And then as you're breathing fully, I'm going to share this reading. It's from my wee moon calendar in bulk. Breathe into emptiness. Stir in the silence that winter gifted you. Touch new skin, the surprise, aliveness, the contours winter revealed. There is an echoing silence that precedes every new thing. Imbolc is the insistence of the spring waters pushing up through the cold earth. It is the restlessness of birdsong, the persistence of sap. It is the dark that folds around all that is stirring, saying, pace yourself, love. Imbolc calls us to be simple. We have nothing but what winter left us. We have nothing but our own stirring heartbeats and desires, nothing but the fire in our bellies that warmed us through the deepest darks. It is time to polish ourselves, to clear, clean, hone, to stand in the barest simplicity of our aliveness and promise ourselves to service, to spring. Make a simple promise to our wholeness, to becoming. Find the seed inside you, swollen with its own longing that insists, with all the force of life, that it will sprout when the time is right. Simple, naked, clean, fiercely alive. Start breathing in through the nose until you are fully full, and then out through the mouth, adding any sound necessary as you fully exhale past your empty point. As you're breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth, focus on bringing yourself fully into the center of your mat, fully into this practice, fully into acceptance for all that is. Be the observer of the nature of all passing things with this breath, and root into the center of your personal universe. In fully through the nose, exhale out the mouth, past, empty. Now let your breath come back to natural, relaxed, free flow of inhale and exhale. Keep your eyes closed now, and let's do a little body scan. Notice what feels tight, tired, and sore. Offer release and relax on the exhale. Bring that awareness in. Notice where your attention went first as you were focusing on what was tight or sore. Now, notice what feels good. Notice where your body is at ease, content, and comfortable. Notice these parts within your body that are comfortable and content. And see if you can invite the feeling to extend past where you can feel and permeate into your entire being. Take a moment here to invite the energy of contentment. You can go ahead and start taking some head circles around in one direction, waking up the spine. Keep going in one direction as you breathe, noticing where you can maybe pause when you feel a kink. Breathe. Breathe that energy of contentment right into that little knot. And then as you exhale, allow the feeling to spread. Take and reverse the direction. Again, really staying in the center of your personal universe, creating this space and this time for radical acceptance. Awesome. So, bringing the head slowly back into center. Breathing. And then inhale the arms all the way up overhead and bring them into those cactus arms. So those triceps are parallel with the floor. You have a bend in the elbow. Palms are facing the screen. Kind of even relaxing the shoulders, but kind of squeezing the shoulder blades back a little bit. So there's that like activation. You can feel this. And then we're going to breathe. And as you inhale the arms up, overhead, palms face each other. And then as you exhale, turn the palms back out. Kind of like maybe if you want to imagine you're in the gym and you're doing like a lat pull. Just kind of wakes up that respiratory system, opens it up. Take your time with your breath as you inhale and you exhale. Maybe even imagining as you're squeezing those shoulder blades together a little bit. Open that heart for that radical acceptance that we're going to practice this evening. That's Santosha. Inhale the arms all the way up. Interlock the fingers and push the palms up overhead. Now see if you can relax the shoulders. You still want your triceps kind of in line with the ears, but you don't want to be wearing your ears. You do want to be wearing your ears. You don't want to be wearing your arms as earrings. Lean over to the side. Get a nice little side stretch. And sometimes you don't have to go very far for this. Notice if your cheek lifted up, see if you can keep that cheek in connection with the earth. Inhale up and over to the other side. Oh yeah. Notice how your legs might have tensed up. See if you can relax your legs. Get to your legs into a sense of contentment as you're opening up the side body. Inhale up overhead. Exhale, bring the hands down so that you can tense your fingertips on the earth. Doing a little bit more side stretching, letting that right fingertips sneak out to the side just until you feel the stretch, just a nice little stretch in the side there. And then inhale the arm all the way up, the left arm all the way up. Let it pause there. Be graceful like a swan as you let that arm come all the way over. Stay open. You don't want to fold over. Feeling that stretch from like the pinky finger down the side. Inhale the arm up. Fingertips plant. And then, oh yeah, take it to the other side nice and gracefully all the way up. and then folding over. Oh yeah. This usually feels pretty good. Sometimes you might get a little too far out there, and then when you roll that hand over, you're like, whoa, you can walk your fingertips back. You're not married to that spot. Find the space where you can be content in the pose and breathe. Inhale the arm back up. Let that arm drop down to the side. Send the legs out wide. Wide-legged, seated forward fold. So we're just going to walk the fingertips. Walk your fingertips out forward, just really gently. We're not trying to go all the way down. You're not trying to touch your nose to the earth. I don't even actually think I can do that. If you can, awesome. But again, we are so content, and we are offering ourselves radical acceptance for exactly where we're at tonight. So wherever you're at, it's perfect. And a lot of times too, you go into your pose, and as you take a couple breath cycles, your body relaxes and invites you deeper into the pose. So wait for that invitation. Give your body a chance. It's been working hard for you today. If it feels good to round the spine, you can. Just be careful. Of course, always being careful. Otherwise, just keeping the alignment from the crown to the tailbone. Finding that drishti, a couple feet in front of you. Really letting this open up. Notice if the legs are really tight, or if you have them locked out. And yes, we're holding this here for just a moment here. Really letting it open. And again, you should not ever feel any tight stretching or pulling in the back of the knees. If you do, make sure you bring a bend into the knees. It's okay for your wide-legged forward fold to look like this. Totally. Okay? Just like it's okay when you hit down dog if your heels don't touch the earth. Radical acceptance. You're going to hear me say that a lot tonight. You're going to dream about radical acceptance for yourself. Take a couple breaths. If it feels good to sway side to side a little bit, you can, but then walk your fingertips back up to center. Take an inhale with the arms all the way up overhead, and then turn towards your left leg, and then fold over the left leg, hinging at the waist. Again, really just taking the time for the stretch, not worried about bending all the way over. More concerned about using the breath to maybe feel where that point is being stretched, where those points of tension are being released. A couple more breaths here. Feeling this in that side body again. As you inhale, stay facing over that knee. As you straighten up and then turn back to center. Take an inhale and then fold forward. Back into that forward fold. This time, notice maybe if your body's inviting you deeper. Notice if you can maybe breathe into the belly a little bit more fully. Walk the fingertips back so you're in seated, and then inhale the arms up overhead again. Turning over the right leg this time, and then folding over that leg. Again, noticing how you can make your adjustments to find some stretch, find some ease. What is being content right now look and feel like, and how can you adjust to make it so? One more breath here. Take an inhale, reach all the way up as you're full over that right knee and then turning back to center. Just kind of helps everything stay in line how it should be. All right, seated forward fold. So you're taking your legs, closing them up. Taking an inhale with the arms rooting into the seat, making sure those knees have some nice fluidity to them, and then hinging at the waist, folding forward. Take some time to deepen into your breath. Maybe counting the inhales to keep you centered, or maybe noticing within the body, noticing that beautiful stretch all throughout the back body. Yeah. Couple more breath cycles here. Just allowing a little space for breath and stillness and contentment this evening. And then when you go to inhale, inhale with the arms so that you can extend all the way up. Throw up all those worries and cares. Throw them up into the sky. Send them up to the universe. Find tabletop. Tabletop. Making sure that the tops of those feet are planted. Building your firm foundation first. Taking a breath to orient yourself in a new perspective. The spine is neutral, so you have a focal point on the ground. I'm going to start building a little bit of heat here. Send that right leg long. And then send the left arm long. So opposite arm, opposite leg. Notice where you're leaning or tilting. Extend from the shoulder all the way to the tips of the fingertips, from the hip all the way out that toe. Sometimes I like to imagine, again, like shooting fireworks or just really extending so that you can really feel past the fingertips and the toes. And then squeezing both of those towards the midline instead of being all out here. Squeeze it into the midline. The neck is neutral. That right hand is really supporting you. The top of the left foot is supporting you as you're pushing down through that leg that's keeping you centered here. Breathe, noticing how your body's like, whoa, wait, we're not moving, but we're working. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, bring yourself into tabletop position. Take some figure eights. Draw figure eights with your hips. So really this is more visual than it is physical. You're going to maybe feel slightly awkward, but doesn't matter. We're radically accepting, no judgments on whatever this looks like. It's how it feels. So imagine in your head that you're drawing a figure eight with your hips. If you want to try and give your brain a little bit of a teaser, you can then switch directions with your figure eight, or just keep going with what feels good. Returning to tabletop. Once you've returned to tabletop, let's do the other side. Extend that left leg long. Remember where we're going, so maybe this is a good time to check in and make sure that your support, that left arm and that right leg are nice and grounded. And then when you're ready, go ahead and gracefully extend that right arm. extending. Again, really focusing on squeezing towards the midline. Find the version of this pose that fulfills your body. You gotta lower that toe a little bit. Go ahead. All right, taking an inhale, and then as you exhale, bringing everything back into center. Tucking the toes under and getting ready to push the hips up and back into down dog. Taking a nice big inhale. Stretch up into down dog. Triceps are in line with the ears. You can have your feet about hip width distance apart. You can bring a generous bend into the knees if you need to, but notice how that did not change the slope in my spine. So really want to continue to bring awareness into that line from the crown to the tailbone. And if your heels are up, that's okay. Maybe walking the feet a little bit closer to the hands can help that. Just take a moment. In down dog, again, finding the version of down dog that fulfills your body, no one else's. Santosha, acceptance. Taking an inhale, and then as you exhale, bringing the knees down to the ground, returning to that tabletop and transitioning into child's pose. So tucking the big toes, knees go wide. As you walk the hands out and go into child's pose, we're going to use an affirmation with some breath here. And as you inhale, sorry, I feel like my water softener is really loud, but you guys probably can't hear that. And if you can, I'm sorry. As you're in child's pose here, we're gonna inhale and say I, exhale, am. So you're saying I am. And this is offering space again for that Santosha, that acceptance. So as you inhale, I, exhale, am. I am. Fall into this inhale and exhale breath cycle as you affirm, I am. And that's it. Just I am. I am. I am. I am. As you're ready and you're moving, maybe taking the inhale with I, and then as you move in back to down dog, I am. So meet back in down dog. Keep moving. Take a nice inhale. As you exhale, walk the feet to the hands so that you find yourself in forward fold. In forward fold, again, take advantage of this beautiful back body stretch. Let gravity just take all the tension, any worries, let it just slide off your back into the earth, back into neutrality. Awesome. Breathe here for one more moment. All right, let's move through a sun A. Nice big inhale all the way up. Hands up overhead. Take your time so your blood pressure doesn't drop and you get dizzy. And then as you're ready, exhaling back to that forward fold. Inhale to a halfway lift. Exhale to that forward fold. Plant the hands. Send the right foot back. Send the left foot back so you find yourself in a plank. If you need to have your knees down, perfect. Lengthen the spine, crown to the tailbone has a line. The abs are engaged. The booty is engaged. Kind of tucking the hips towards the solar plexus, creating that line. And then as you take your next big inhale, exhale, keep the elbows tucked lower down, finding your back bend as you untuck your toes. You can find your up dog, or you can have your elbows down for Sphinx. Tuck the toes and return to your down dog. As we move through this next sequence, where can you do less and breathe more? Where can you offer yourself radical acceptance? From down dog, take your left leg and draw a rainbow up towards the sky. Keep your hips square with the ground. And then bring that left leg, swing it all the way through so you can plant it in between your hands. Keep that back toe tucked under. We're starting out with a crescent lunge. So if you do need to bring the knee down, then you will untuck the toe and take your crescent lunge. You're keeping your toe tucked. Push down to lift up. Whoa, I was not mentally prepared for that one. Sinking down into your crescent lunge, relaxing the shoulders. Taking an inhale. As you exhale, bring the chest down to rest on the knee or the shin. Oh my gosh. Wrong body part. Thigh. Fingertips. Plant them. Toes on the right. Turn them out so that your heel plants. We're setting up for warrior. Once you have your toes, your back toes pointed out, generous bend in that front knee. Again, pushing down to lift up into your warrior one. Arms come up overhead. Chest is facing forward. Nice inhale. Exhale, release and relax into warrior one. Take an inhale. As you exhale, open the arms up into warrior two. Push into the outside. Did you guys see that? I was pushing on the inside of my foot. Push into the outside of that leg that's long. Inhale. As you exhale, turn your left palm up and then reach up with that palm towards the sky as you slide your right hand down your thigh. Peaceful warrior. Inhale. Exhale, return to warrior two. How you doing so far? Are you still breathing? I hope you're still breathing. Nice inhale. Brings that front leg straight. Left hand comes down to the inside of the left foot and then open up the palm. Open up, maybe even kind of turning the shoulder. Open some more. Maybe imagining you're in between two planes of glass. So somebody's going to slide two planes of glass in between you. Maybe a magic trick. You can imagine your magician's assistant. Take an inhale. As you exhale, bring the right hand down to the earth. Walk yourself to a wide forward fold. So turning the toes in so you're facing, hopefully you're facing the screen. If not, it's what happens. But as long as you can hear me, you should be good. So we're in that wide-legged forward fold. Taking a breath here. Plant your left hand underneath your forehead, and then open up with the right hand up towards the sky. Remember, if you feel any kind of pull in the back of the knees, bring a bend into the knees. See the good here, right now. Inhale. As you exhale, bring the hand down, replace the hands and switch sides, opening up to the other side, noticing how it might be different. And again, seeing the good in exactly where you are at right now. As you exhale, then go ahead and bring both hands down. Turn your right toe forward so we can switch sides and do the other side. So you'll keep your left toes pointed out. And it's also helpful if you check with this front heel and the inside of your left foot. They should kind of maybe draw a line. Bringing a bend, a generous bend into the knee. And then inhaling all the way up to that warrior one. Don't worry, we didn't skip the crescent lunge. We'll still do that. No, some of you maybe thought you got out of it. Pushing into that outer part of the foot in the back, really sinking in, pushing down to lift up, right? We're drawing our energy from the earth all the way up into that warrior one. Inhale. As you exhale, open to warrior two. Shoulders are relaxed, chest is open. You can maybe even kind of squeeze the shoulder blades towards each other a little bit, looking over that front hand and into the bright future, into that warm spring that is sure to come. Inhale the palm up, take that peaceful warrior. Reaching up towards the sky, letting that left hand slide down the thigh for a little bit of support. Keep you in line. Nice big inhale. As you exhale, come back to that warrior two. Keep breathing. Take a nice big inhale. As you exhale, straighten that front right leg. Bring the right hand down to the inside and take our triangle here. Slide yourself in between two panes of glass. You open up that top shoulder. Breathing. If it's appropriate for you to look up at your hand, you can do that, or you can look straight or down. Find what's appropriate. Accept exactly where you're at right now. Nice big inhale. And then as you exhale, bring the hand down. And then we're going to walk back to our wide-legged forward fold. Taking that wide-legged forward fold again. Find yourself in this moment. Breathing. You are right here, right now. If you want to sway side to side like I'm doing, that can always feel good. If you want to pull the legs so that you can pull your upper body closer to your lower body, or if you simply just want to hang, breathe into this moment. Then find some stillness. Can you find contentment here in our wide-legged forward fold? Taking a breath, using your fingertips for support, turning the left toes out so you can follow that, turning the right toes in. Transition. So we're not going to stay here in this lunge. So once you have that ready, push through that back foot to bring it up and meet in a forward fold. Nice big breath. And then plant the fingertips. Step the left toe back. Toe tucked under. Take your crescent lunge here. If you need to lower the leg, you can. These lunges are great to give yourself acceptance because there's a little bit of a challenge here. So you have to accept where you're at right here, right now, and soften into that. And know that if you keep practicing, you'll get stronger. Nice big inhale. As you exhale, bring the fingertips down, chest rests on thighs, and then push through that left toe to bring both feet together back into your forward fold. As you inhale, start to roll up. We're going to do some balance tonight. We're going to do tree. Be content like a tree. Root down through your pada bandha, your foot, your root lock. Wait, that's Mula Bandha. Anyways, we've been covering a lot of yogic terms in my next level of Hub Yogini training, and so everything's starting to meld together. Anyways, plant your foot, plant your roots. Let some roots grow down through your feet. Kickstand your foot so that you can turn the knee out and that toe is kind of helping you rest. Inhale the arms up. Palms meet and draw down into heart center. Either keep the foot here, bring it up to the shin, or skip the knee and bring it all the way up to the inside of the thigh, pushing into each other. So if you push the thigh into the foot and the foot into the thigh, creates that midline, finding a focal point and breathing. What does contentment look like here in tree pose? And if you're still holding it, hold it for one more breath and then let it release. In my classes, we always kind of shake out in between balance poses because it can kind of create some tension. And sometimes it's more mental tension than physical tension. A lot of times, if you're not finding your drishti and really focusing in on the breath, the mind will come in and you won't be able to hold this solid tree. So be aware of that. And then, of course, accept it, right? Finding the root lock on the other side. Inhaling the arms all the way up. Oops, sorry, I forgot to tell you to kickstand. Find your center. Find your roots. Find your content tree. Again, pushing down to lift up nice and long through the spine and open. Finding your focal point and breathing. Welcoming that Santosha. Nice big inhale. Then as you exhale, release it. Shake it out. Let's return to the front of your mat so that we can vinyasa back down to the earth. Nice inhale. All the way up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to your halfway lift. And then exhale, plant the hands and bring the feet out from underneath you so that you can come into tabletop position. From tabletop, we're doing some cat cows, making sure that the shoulders are over the wrists and the knees are underneath the hips. Inhaling, dropping the belly as you draw the crown and the tailbone towards each other. And then as you exhale, drawing the navel up into the spine. And then taking the crown and the tailbone towards each other. Again, just in the opposite direction, right? So inhaling for your cow. Exhaling for your cat. What I'm more concerned about is you finding a rhythm between cat cow linked with breath that feels good for you. Maybe close the eyes. See if you can really step into that space of radical acceptance. Like, be here in this moment now and realize that you're perfect, exactly where you're at, exactly how you're moving. Nobody can do yoga in your body better than you. Keep breathing. We're offering radical acceptance that can bring up emotions, and that's okay too. So as you're moving through this practice this evening, if you're noticing you're having emotions arise, keep breathing, keep moving, and let those emotions flow. That's why we're here. Awesome. Go ahead and come on to your bum. Now we're really winding it down, and then go ahead and gently lower yourself all the way to your back. I think I'll go like that so I can show. Okay, awesome. Hug the knees into the chest. Just hug them for a minute because this feels really good. Take a big breath. And again, like hugging yourself and just offering this moment of radical acceptance. After offering yourself Santosha. You can rock side to side if you want to. And then keep a hold of that left knee. Send the right leg long. Hold on to that left knee with your right hand and then send the left arm out to the side and long. And then you can rotate over onto the hip just a little bit and draw that knee, that left knee, across the body over to the opposite side, supine twist. Now you can keep the knee bent or you can lengthen it out all the way. Again, finding what's feeling good for you tonight in your practice. Looking over at that left arm to complete the twist and breathing. Rolling up to center. Hugging both knees in to your chest again. And then doing the other side. So keeping a hold of that right leg now, sending the left leg long. Right arm extends out to the side. And then the right leg crosses over the body, giving yourself a really beautiful supine twist. Remember extending that leg if that feels good, or maybe not bending it quite so much. Breathe. Awesome. Roll back up to center. Hug your knees into your chest again. And then what would a yoga practice about contentment be without a happy baby? Happy babies are content, right? So reaching in between the legs, you can use your peace fingers to grab your big toes, grab your ankles, grab your pant legs, whatever you can get a hold of, keeping the thighs parallel with the earth, and then reaching the feet towards the sky. I guess you don't really want to reach the feet towards the sky. You just want your feet up towards the ceiling, like you're going to walk on the ceiling. Like some weird spider human thing. I don't know, guys. Whatever. Find your happy baby. Find your contentment of a happy baby. Find this stretch as a beautiful hip opener, accepting exactly where you're at in your mobility tonight. Oh, I'm gonna roll off the side here. Awesome. And then taking your feet and releasing them to the earth. Reclined pigeon. So resettle, readjust with the upper half of your body. Really relax into the earth. Right ankle rests on the knee. So you have this figure 4 shape here. Notice my ankle isn't on top of the knee and it's not really, really low. You just want it right in that sweet spot that makes the 4. And then noticing that as you send that right knee out, it brings that openness into the hip. Take your fingers, reach behind the left thigh, interlock the fingers, and relax into your pigeon. You are enough. Did you know that? At any given moment, you are enough. There's nothing to fix here. One more inhale. And then as you exhale, go ahead and drop the foot into the earth. Let the right foot come down and switch sides. So switching sides with your reclined pigeon again, finding that sweet spot with the ankle on the knee, letting that openness come from the left knee, falling away from the nose, reaching behind, interlocking, relaxing. Knowing that there is nothing that needs to be done here. There is nothing to change. There's no work to be done, just to be. The only work here is to just be. Keep breathing. And then as you exhale, relax the foot down, release your grip. Bring the other foot down And then hug the knees into the chest. Extend yourself acceptance and acknowledgement. And then extending the arms and the legs out overhead as you're relaxing into Shavasana. Knowing that radical acceptance and contentment is hard work. It involves being vigilant in your response to any of those voices in your head that tell you that you are not enough when you are. Those voices that tell you you're not enough as you are. Not all thoughts are facts. You are enough. Bringing yourself into Shavasana. Arms are relaxed at the sides. Feet are falling open. Walk the shoulder blades down the back a little bit as you relax into this integration phase, allowing the movement and the messages that were meant to resonate, land, and settle in this space of contentment and peace. You continue to show up for yourself and your practices, and you will continue to cultivate Santosha and experience the freedom and growth that stems from radical acceptance. What you deny and ignore, you delay. What you accept and face, you conquer. Relax into Shavasana with complete acceptance for what is right now in this moment. Allow your breath to keep you in the present moment. I'm going to play some more tongue drum, followed by a minute or two of silence. And then I will ring my bell and I will call you out of your rest of integration. Breathe, be present, and relax. And start wiggling your fingers and your toes. Bring gentle movement back into your body. Feel this contentment as you stretch out overhead into that full body stretch. Allowing it to be gentle and easy and feel really good. Big full breath as you're ready to roll onto your right side. Relaxing in this fetal position for just a moment. Get that vagus nerve stimulated. Taking this space here as an acknowledgement for yourself for showing up tonight, showing up for yourself, for your practice, welcoming Santosha. And before we fully come back sitting up, I want to share one more quote for you to put into your back pocket. When I accept myself just as I am freed from the burden of needing you to accept me. Gently push yourself up into seated. Welcome back. We'll close our evening with 3 breaths. Big breaths with the arms up overhead. Drawing palms down into heart center. Inhaling, bringing the arms up overhead, maybe fortifying that rose quartz bubble, building a bubble around you, nothing less than love in and nothing less than love out. And one more time, inhale with the arms all the way up overhead. Yes, yes. May you be safe and protected. May you be healthy and nourished. May you love and be loved, and may you truly be happy. Namaste. Sober. Thank you for joining tonight. Be well.